228 pages. That's the size of the bill introduced last season that is being considered in the 119th House of Representatives. I have read every single word of the document, so you don't have to. I'm going to be as brief as I possibly can while making sure to give you the full gist of the bill. It's long and involved, but I tried to pull out the main stuff. So let's get started. The bill is House Bill 10278 from the 118th Congress. It's called Inspire to Serve Act of 2024. It comes to us from a Democrat in California named Jimmy Panetta. It went to the Education and Workforce, Armed Services, Foreign Affairs, Agriculture, Natural Resources, Ways and Means, Oversight and Accountability, Veterans Affairs, Homeland Security, Intelligence, House Administration, Judiciary, and Energy and Commerce Committees. So the original title, and to build America's spirit of service to nature, promote and expand a culture of service to secure the nation's future, address critical needs of the nation, and strengthen the civic fabric of American society. So basically, it will expand and strengthen the civic education in our schools, especially our high schools. They want to train teachers to better teach civics, create resources for teachers to use, create local opportunities to apply their civic education, the kids applying their civic education. 50% of the funds go to high need schools. It's to teach an understanding of United States law, history, and government, voting, and other forms of political and civic engagement, critical thinking and media literacy, interest in employment and careers in the military, national, and public service. Some of these things seem to be a moot point given the things that are happening in our federal government right now, but we'll see what happens. It aims to increase the number of students in grades 4, 8, and 12 testing at or above the proficient level in civics, in the civics portion of the National Assessment of Education Progress test. Stop it. Just please stop with the darn testing. It just stresses everybody out. Teachers don't get to spend nearly enough time working on the substance of their subject because they're too busy teaching kids how to take a test. It's ridiculous. It's one of the many ridiculous education policies we have had since 1978 when Jimmy Carter came up with the Department of Education. It just has to stop. Off my soapbox. The beginning section gives us a dollar amount to be appropriated. Sorry, the cat's meowing. It's you rarely ever see that anymore. In the bills I'm reading, you don't see them mention how much anything's going to cost. But the beginning is the only section where they actually mention money and how much it's going to need to do it and where the money's going to come from. Their objections are by 2031 to have all students in kindergarten through grade 12 receive in-class service learning experiences, and at least 1 million students in grades 6 through 12 to participate in a summer service program each year, and at least 1 million students in grades 9 through 12 to participate in a semester of service program each year. There's a whole section on how all the money is to be spent, with 50% going to low-income communities. Let's see. The Librarian of Congress, the Director of the Institute of Museum and Library Services, and the Archivist of the United States shall work jointly to develop and distribute to the public educational materials and teaching resources on civic education and effective citizenship. including by enhancing existing online resources and supporting the distribution of hard copy and digital materials. So essentially, they are to come up with a plan of how to teach these things and then create all of the resources teachers need to teach exactly what civics they're supposed to teach. The next section talks about how overworked, undervalued, underpaid teachers are, but it doesn't go so far as to talk about how to fix that. Definitely no money put aside for that. Uh, it creates the position of the assistant to the president of military, national, and public service, who shall serve at the pleasure of the president. This assistant will be the director of the Council on Military, National, and Public Service within the executive office. Included in this council would be heads of these departments or committees: Secretary of State, Defense, Attorney General, Interior, Commerce, Labor, Health and Human Services, Education, Veterans Affairs, Homeland Security, Office of Management and Budget, National Intelligence, Peace Corps, Corporation for National and Community Services. Obviously, several of those have been under attack because Democrats, didn't plan for these to not exist. Oh, I'm okay. There's one paragraph that I'm really not okay with. Authority to accept gifts. The council may accept, use, and dispose of gifts or donations of services, goods, and property, except for cash from non-federal entities for the purposes of aiding and facilitating the work of the council. Maybe if they had stuck with just donations, it wouldn't bother me so much. But the fact that they called them gifts, that's a whole nother beast. And that doesn't seem okay. Advancement of military service. The Librarian of Congress, the director of the Institute of Museum and Library Services, is the same sentence as before. They just put it in another spot. They come up with materials. They decide what's to be taught. They come up with the materials to teach it, and then they distribute those materials to all the teachers around. Each military department is to create a grant for up to 3 years to a college or technical school to gain a degree or professional certification in a field that is in high demand within our military. The individual must make a commitment to serve in the armed forces. There's a whole lot of information about the specifics of these, so I won't go into all of that. But essentially, it's like delayed entry they have now. Uh, it expands the JROTC curriculum, expansion of the Youth Build, Youth Conservation Corps, and National Guard Youth Challenge programs. I had not heard of any of these programs, so I'm going to let you in on what I found out about them. The youth program, Youth Build, is a program that started in East Harlem. Wow, I can't talk this morning. To rebuild abandoned and dilapidated buildings. It started in 1988, and in 1992, a bipartisan legislature approved funding from HUD and is now funded through the Department of Labor. The Youth Conservation Corps is part of the National Guard, or National Park Service, sorry. 15 to 18-year-olds participate in a 6 to 8 week paid work program. This gives them the experience working in the areas of forestry, wild refuges, and fish hatcheries. The next one's National Guard Youth Challenge is an alternative program which offers youth who have dropped out of school or who are not progressing well in high school an alternative. It's an alternative for them to change their future. Participants looking for a way to succeed outside a traditional school setting, learn self-discipline, leadership, and responsibility while working to obtain their high school diploma or equivalency. The Chief Executive Office of the Corporation for National Community Service shall carry out a public awareness campaign. So that's advertising and recruiting. The next section is on strengthening of national mobilization by modernizing the selective service systems. So one of the biggest changes that I noted in the selective service for this one, let me switch pages, is to take out the his and him and replace them with such person to include female service members. So overall, we're basically trying to get highly qualified individuals into public service, which has been getting harder and harder as the years go by. And now it's going to be even harder to get military personnel. Enlistment is down, and they are just making it harder for enlistment. Who wants to go in the military right now? I can't imagine there's a whole lot of people. So please hit like, subscribe, and share this video. I know most people don't have the time, energy, or inclination to read all of this legislation, except I do. So I will read it for you and give you the highlights of it. So thank you. Have a great day.